Teams starting to jockey for position. We'll see which way all of those balls start to bounce when the NBA draft commences on Thursday night here in Newark. And some activity. Houston Rockets have been very active. Deal with the Bucks that moved them up to number 12. Houston has 3 picks in the first round. In fact, 6 teams control 13 picks in the first round. That's nearly half of the first round. None of them from New York or L.A. Glad to have you with us as we look forward to the NBA draft on Thursday night from the Prudential Center. Reese Davis with Chris Broussard, Jeff Van Gundy, and Jay Billis. We'll hear from them shortly, but of course, the activity and the news, always the buzz as we close in on the draft. Rick Bucher and Andy Katz have been keeping their finger on the pulse of everything. Rick, let's start with you and the Houston Rockets. Do we have activity? Do we have achievement? What's the end goal for the Rockets and all this movement they're doing?
Achievement certainly is the end goal. The activity is dominating the scene right now. They did make a small move today where they were able to move up to the 12th pick, trading Sam Dalembert and their 14th pick to the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, their end game ultimately is to land a superstar, an all-star, superstar big man. Dwight Howard is at the top of that list. I'm told that it's not realistic that they would be able to get him, certainly not before the draft. They had made a previous play for Pau Gasol. With what the Lakers are hoping to achieve, that appears to still be a possibility. And then ultimately the bottom line is, if none of that transpires, go get a young big man who has all-star potential, even though it may be a couple of years, in the University of Connecticut center, Andre Drummond.
And to get Drummond, more than likely, Houston has to get all the way up to number 5 in Sacramento to do that. Now, another player that's being very coveted, maybe the most coveted outside of Anthony Davis, which you can't touch, it's Bradley Beal of Florida. And Oklahoma City, which just got off losing to the Miami Heat in the NBA Finals, they've been very active behind the scenes, but it's highly unlikely that they can get all the way to 2 or 3 to get Beal. Sam Presti, the general manager of Oklahoma City, spent 3 days during the lockout in Gainesville watching Bradley Beal. During the NBA playoffs, when Oklahoma City was playing Dallas, Billy Donovan took his 2 nephews over to that series and sat down with Presti. And then Bradley Beal telling me on Wednesday that when he met with Oklahoma City in an interview in Chicago, Presti did tell him that they will make every attempt to try to get up that high. But, Rick, it's very unlikely that they can do so because they'd have to part with one of their big 4.
That's right, James Harden, and that is not likely to happen.
Now, that would be shocking to me, but it is an example of how the draft, you guys have used words like volatile, perhaps chaotic, after the first pick. First 5 minutes is a lot. New Orleans is going to pick, and they're going to take Anthony Davis.
And in Anthony Davis, they're getting a very unique player, a player who right now can step into the league and have an impact defensively because of his defensive range. He's got great length. He's got a wingspan of 7'4", 7'5", and he's got the ability to move his feet. I mean, he can get from the middle of the lane out to block a three-point shot like nobody else in basketball right now. And he blocked 40 jump shots last year. 15 of those were from the three-point line. He's very skilled with great hands. He's an outstanding athlete. I think he's got a terrific aptitude for the game. And I think he's got the ability to really shoot up as an offensive player. I think he's going to get better and better. He's just scratching the surface of how good he's going to be in the future.
Well, I love his demeanor. I love his level of unselfishness. And I like that John Calipari has already coached him hard. So he's going to be used to the competition from the practices. He's going to be used to being demanded of, and I think that's going to bode well for him as he heads to New Orleans.
Well, this is the time we make comparisons. I've been told
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Well, no, I'm not saying Kareem Abdul-Jabbar or anybody like that. I was told offensively people think, or at least a few people, that he could be Roy Tarpley before the drugs. We know Roy Tarpley was a great prospect, had some nice years in the NBA before the drug abuse. And defensively, Marcus Camby, who you coached. So if you can get Roy Tarpley's offense early in his career and Marcus Camby's defense, that's a pretty good player.
Would you like for me to hit him with the Kareem reference now then?
you can do it, not me. Not me.
He's Kareem. All I am saying that when Anthony Davis is number 1 overall pick in the draft on Thursday night, he will join Kareem as the only guys, be the number 1 overall pick, AP Player of the Year, and coming off a national championship as he was at Kentucky. Perhaps 5 other Kentucky teammates will be drafted in the NBA on Thursday night. In addition to Anthony Davis, you'll see how it all unfolds when we cover the draft Thursday night, 7 o'clock Eastern.